Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, this is the first talk I've given since 1977 where I can't wear the logo I created or use the name of the organization that I founded. But I just want to assure you that we will continue to do what we've been doing. That courage, that imagination, that passion of all of those people that have been involved with trying to protect the oceans continues, and it will continue. And we will be back at sea, and we'll be doing campaigns. But what I want to talk about really is the major problem facing our future and the reasons for that and what can be done about it. That is climate change. And what is contributing to that? The agricultural industry, the animal agriculture industry, is the single greatest source of groundwater pollution on the planet. It is the single cause of dead zones in the oceans. It is the single greatest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions on the planet, more so than the transportation industry. In fact, a meat eater riding a bicycle contributes more to greenhouse gas emissions than a vegan riding a Hummer. That's how put it in proportion. Since 1950, there's been a 40% diminishment in phytoplankton populations in the ocean. Phytoplankton provides 70% of the oxygen in the air we breathe and sequesters enormous amounts of CO2. Now, why is that happening? Because we have destroyed so much life in the ocean. Fish, whales, dolphins, and everything. They are the species that provide the nutrients for the phytoplankton. They're literally farming the crop that supports us all. If phytoplankton disappears from the sea, we all die. All living things on this planet die. That is the single most important thing that we have to consider. If you look at this planet as a spaceship, which is what it is, we're on this incredible voyage around the Milky Way. Every spaceship has a life support system that provides us with the air we breathe, the food we eat, and regulates climate and temperature. And that spaceship is run by a crew of engineers who are keeping this all running. Not us. We're the passengers. We're having a wonderful time amusing ourselves. But what we are doing is we're murdering the crew. We're killing them off. And there's only so many crew you can kill before the machinery begins to break down and it all falls apart. And we're seeing that around us each and every day with droughts and floods and storms and everything, which are caused because the engineers on this planet are being murdered by us. Now, the solution to this, there's two solutions. One is veganism. And that if we can all adopt a vegan approach to this, that will alleviate those problems. And I'm really very happy to see over the last 40 years the emerging support for veganism. You know, I remember back in 1980, everybody asked, what's a vegan? Oh, is that from the planet Vega? We don't know. So nobody even knew what it was. But now look at this movement. It is one of the fastest growing movements on the planet. Not growing fast enough, but it is growing, and we have to continue to encourage that. And the other is we have to adapt an understanding of biocentrism, which is this understanding that we're not dominant on this planet. We're not superior on this planet. We are equal citizens on this planet. In fact, there's many species probably more worthy of that than us because they're keeping everything running. But we have to learn to live in harmony with all other species. And if we don't, we simply are not going to survive. There's no room on this planet. There's no room on this planet for 8 billion meat-eating, fish-eating hominids. It's unnatural. And all of those people who say, well, it's natural for us to eat meat. No, it's never natural to have 8 billion meat-eating hominids. And in fact, they'd say, well, we're carnivores. And actually, no, you're not. You're necrovores. You don't eat meat. Lions eat meat. You eat dead bodies. That's what a necrovore is. So instead of comparing yourself to the lion and the tiger, compare yourself more to the buzzard and to the jackal. That's what we're carrion eaters. And some of the meat that people eat has been dead for a year, and people don't really give that much thought when they eat. So we have to learn to live in harmony, and the best way to do that is by adapting a vegan lifestyle. It's the only way we're going to actually survive. The United Nations understands that. The Pentagon understands that because they see that the greatest threat to national security is climate change and the fact that of overconsumption of resources. They see that. The insurance companies certainly see that, but unfortunately, politicians don't. Well, then they don't see much anyway. But we can make a difference, and we are making a difference, and that gives me a lot of hope. You know, somebody says, well, you know, the problems are so overwhelming, it's impossible to solve them. Well, the only way to solve an impossible problem is to find the impossible solution. And that can be found. It can be found through passion, courage, and imagination. 1972, the very idea that Nelson Mandela would be president of South Africa was unthinkable and impossible, and yet that impossibility became a possibility, and we can do that with each and every movement. If you work for it, if you have the passion for it, you can make it happen. Now, I learned a lesson many years ago which has stayed with me all of my life. Back in 1973, I was a volunteer medic for the American Indian movement during the occupation of Wounded Knee. And I went to Russell Means, the leader of AIM there, and I said, we don't have any hope of winning here. We got 3,000 federal officers shooting at us. They killed 2 people. They wounded 46. We have no way of winning. So why are we here? And he said something to me that's stayed with me forever. He said, we're not here because we're worried about the odds against us. We're not here because we're worried about winning or losing. We're here because this is the right place to be, the right time to do it, and the right thing to do. And don't worry about the future. Concentrate and focus on the present. What you do in the present will define what the future is. We have no power over the future. We have absolute power over the present. So that kind of approach, I think, makes, so we don't need to be depressed. There's no reason to be pessimistic. Just concentrate on doing everything you can in the present to solve those problems. And that can be done, again, by the combination of passion, imagination, and courage. And never let anybody deter you and tell you, oh, you can't do it, or it's impossible to do it. You have the power to do it. One person can make that kind of difference. Because of David Wingate, who's an activist in Bermuda, the Bermuda Storm Petrel did not go extinct. Because of Diane Fossey, the mountain gorillas survived. That shows you the power that one person can do. And I can't think of a greater legacy than because you intervened, because you acted, a species didn't go extinct, or a habitat wasn't destroyed. We all have that power, and we should never, ever delegate it to these people who call ourselves our leaders, because the only thing they're interested in getting reelected and getting paid. And the power lies with us. And again, it's with the big organizations that don't depend upon them. Depend upon yourselves and each other, and we can win and prevail. Thank you.